Well, he can hoax them on something that's fairly trivial, and perhaps somebody can hoax them on something much more sinister and more important.
How do you fool those whose very business it is to tell the truth? CNN, UPI, ABC, CBS. With a fax machine and some cooperative friends, Joey has scammed them all. His skill, like that of so many great confidence tricksters, is understanding the preoccupations of his own society. He knows exactly what his marks want to hear.
It's so predictable. You can make a calendar of events. You know what the media is going to be recording during the course of a year. You know, they're going to have the homeless on Thanksgiving. You know, they're going to be the anniversary of Chernobyl. There's always a disaster or an event. You can predict what stories they're going to cover. So you know what they're looking for. And it's really easy to tune in that way. And you can do an ironic reversal or a juxtaposition or even a statement along those lines. And you're pretty much guaranteed that that's going to push the button that they want to hear. And that's one way of getting access to them.
We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Orenthal James Simpson, not guilty of the crime of murder in violation
of the O.J. Simpson murder trial. It was the biggest media circus of 1995, and it became the basis for an elaborate and thought-provoking media hoax. Skaggs called it the Solomon Project. Posing as a New York University professor named Dr. Joseph Bonuso, Skaggs sent a letter to over 3,000 judges, legislators, law enforcement officers, legal publishers, and law schools.
Now, the Solomon Project, I said, was 7 years in developing. We had over 150 scientists, artificial intelligence scientists and computer experts, lawyers and judges who were working on this project, and students. We were inputting all the laws of the land, both criminal and civil, into a series of supercomputers, and that these computers would be able to replace juries. I sent out a second press release saying that we were preparing a 15-city tour. We were soliciting cases that were controversial. We were going to retry them with a computer, and we were even going to retry O.J.
And then, beautifully, smartly, he throws in O.J. You know, and we know that CNN became O.J. TV. It became the fetish of America for a while, sadly so. And so he's got all the preconditions to carry out a hoax, which is not merely a hoax, which is a critique and ultimately an indictment.
I sent out a third press release saying that we did retry O.J. and we found him guilty. Now, that's what everyone was waiting to hear. O.J. guilty. Of course he's guilty, but now we know, look, the computer said he was guilty. So I really hit a lot of nerves with that one.
Skaggs had 24 hours to prepare for a CNN news crew intent on interviewing Dr. Joseph Bonuso. Of course, they also wanted to shoot a demonstration of the Solomon supercomputer at work.
We're on for two. We got about 25 people there, and we designed bogus screens, O.J. guilty, and all this stuff that was only literally a screen deep. There was nothing beyond it. And we did voice stress analysis. We could analyze your voice. You were telling the truth, you were not telling the truth, you were somewhat telling the truth, you were somewhat telling a lie, and all this was rigged, just totally, totally bogus. When CNN came in, they saw all these cameras, they saw these journalists, they see all these screens, all these computers. There's hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment there. Well, it has to be real. And it's NYU Law School. Of course it's real.
The danger was that the crew might ask to see something that wasn't technically possible on the computer, or that the reporter would make inquiries at NYU Law School about their innovative professor. Neither one happened. The piece, complete with news desk intro, reporter stand-ups, O.J. file footage, and Joey's interview, was broadcast across the country on December 29, 1995. If you didn't catch it that evening, though, you're unlikely ever to see it.
A jury is a manipulated group of puppets. To do the last stage of what I do, which is to tell the truth, ultimately is the hardest thing because nobody wants to hear it. And when you try to gain access to the news media, and say, listen, we're preparing a piece and showing how this was a hoax and what it's all about. We'd like to get permission to run this footage. They say no. They don't want the public to question their credibility as an investigative news source any more than they've already been questioned. I've been on some shows like a half a dozen times. I fooled CNN, I think, 5 or 6 times. Porterfest, Walk Right, Fat Squad, Bad Guys. It's always amazing to me when sometimes the same crew shows up. You know, a cameraman or a sound person from a previous hoax will show up and say, you know, this place looks familiar. There's a guy here who was making fish condos. Oh, really? And this has happened. I've been on Live at 5 about a half a dozen times. So it's kind of frightening when you think about, you know, how they don't remember anything. They don't care to remember. The story is more important than the truth sometimes. I don't measure my success by how many people I fool, how many newspapers or radio stations or magazines I fool, but how many people I'm able to reach with the message that we are all being fooled.
When will Skaggs strike again? On more than one occasion, he's told reporters that he's perpetrated his last hoax.
I swore that this would be the last one.
Is this the last of your hoaxes?
Oh, sure. I'm not going to do this anymore. I decided that I've had it with hoaxes. Too many people have seen my face. It's going to get really difficult to do this, so I'm going to quit.
Joey Skaggs doesn't break the law, and he doesn't profit from his schemes, but to those he's duped, he's a scoundrel. As someone who makes expert use of the con artist's bag of tricks, Skaggs may make us laugh, but he also wants us to look more carefully at the truth that we're being sold. Where the foibles of human nature and the well-tested rules of deception meet is where the con artist plies his trade. But without willing believers in the promise of instant riches, a miracle cure, or an undiscovered masterpiece, the scam is just another game of solitaire.
Now, on the 20th century,
You've been selected to receive one of our top 5 awards.
cons, scams, and swindles.
Financially, they've totally ruined me.
Scam artists had only one rule,
Get the money, get the money, and get the money.
How do you earn your living, sir?
and once they did, chances were they'd never get caught.
In America, fraud pays.
I'm Mike Wallace, and this is the 20th century. Con men and scam artists, people who use stealth instead of force, are as old as the Bible. The book of Genesis recorded Jacob conning his father into believing that he was his older brother Esau in order to win his brother's inheritance. And ever since, con artists have spread like locusts. The con, or confidence game, can be simple as a hand of three-card Monte or as elaborate as a phony investment scheme. For example, there's the scam that began when a company called TV Millions or TV Fortunes placed an ad in USA Today promising investors returns of more than $100,000 if they would just put up $9,500 of their own money to get started. When 60 Minutes saw the ad, it sent associate producer Deborah DeLuca to Dallas with a hidden camera to check it out. Posing as a divorcee with money to invest, she met with Charles Cole, the owner of Tyro Incorporated, successor to TV Millions and TV Fortunes, and the man behind what he called a new television marketing concept.
Decentralizing, getting distributors out in the field.
For a $9,750 investment, Debbie would become the exclusive New York distributor of a variety of products provided by Cole's company. They would buy TV time and provide a 1-800 television commercial to run in her area. And the products would then be shipped from her home in New York in just a couple of days, instead of making the buyer wait 6 to 8 weeks for delivery from a big central warehouse. A telephone answering service would take the orders. All Debbie would have to do was ship the products out and collect the money.
If we can't make in New York City your end of this thing somewhere between $500,000 and $750,000, there's something extremely wrong.
Ron Upton, Cole's partner, told DeLuca that she could become exclusive distributor for the company's hottest product, a long-lost videotape of Elvis Presley. Cole had assured DeLuca the videotape would be a surefire hit.
He told me that these were tapes, outtakes from recording sessions with Elvis Presley. Elvis bloopers, he explained them to me, and that they got them. And that once they were able to package them, market them, whatever it is they do with them to get them out to the public, it's going to make us all lots of money.
But DeLuca never received the Elvis Presley tape. According to a former TV Millions employee, it was nothing but a come-on.
Mike, there's fraud there when you misrepresent a product as being a product of yours. When they ask for that product, you can't give it to them. And that's definitely fraud in itself.
What DeLuca and more than 100 other investors got was costume jewelry, not videotapes. Cubic zirconium ring, sale price $19.95, endorsed by dancer Juliette Prowse.
But it's fun to wear my white Siberian cubic zirconia.
Who, by the way, never got fully paid for her TV commercial. And a collection of 52 sets of earrings for $29.95, endorsed by actress Britt Eklund. But the TV commercials generated almost no sales.
I sold 7 and got 4 of those returned. So I actually made 3 sales out of 235,000 households.
And for this, you lost how much?
$15,000.
Oh, my.
I got 7 orders. 6 of them, Mike, were returned. I made 1 sale.
All told, more than 100 investors ended up losing well over $1 million.
I invested $9,500 with TV Millions and cashier's checks, and approximately another $5,000 to $6,000 in startup expenses, computers and that, to run the business.
And he lost it all, as did she.
It's going to cost me about $35,000 to get out of this.
Worse, investors discovered Charles Cole had been sent to prison for defrauding investors in a similar TV marketing scheme in Mobile, Alabama in 1983. We had talked to Cole on the phone several times, but we wanted to meet him face-to-face on camera. So, along with investors, we went to his offices to confront him.
Your name?
My name is Wallace.
Hi, I'm Eugene Rosette. I'm a distributor of yours. I want to see Ron Upton.
The people at Tyro were not glad to see us.
Robinson's my name. I'd like to see Mr.
sir. Right, I am.
I'd like to see Mr. Ron Upton.
Hey, look here.
It soon became apparent that Mr. Cole had fled from his office.
No, there's no room for him in here.
Cole was eventually arrested for fraud, but after posting bail, he skipped town, taking the money with him. Ron Upton and another partner were found guilty, but after a plea bargain, they were fined only $50 and given 3 to 4 years probation.
Where'd he go?
As for the distributors, they recovered none of the more than $1 million they'd invested. According to author Chuck Whitlock, that wouldn't have bothered people like Cole and Upton at all.
Con artists are sociopaths. They're people that have not adjusted well. They don't have the same kinds of feelings for their fellow human beings that normal people have. They have a diagnosable mental illness.
According to Whitlock, what motivated con artists, among other things, was skating in that gray area between legal and illegal.
They're always riding on the cusp. They're always giving you just enough truth mixed with a whole lot of nonsense and puffery to convince you to buy the product or service. And so it's difficult to prosecute those folks because they're not totally criminal. It's really difficult to prove intent, and yet millions of people are suffering because they're being bilked out of their money for something that really doesn't work.
Barbara Fine was built out of more than money.
I met him out dancing at a club.
And eventually, she fell in love with a man named Pierre Philippe.
He presents himself as a doctor doing research for the NIH, AIDS research. He says he has a clinical trial. He says he works out of Columbia Presbyterian Hospital. He says he has an MD, PhD from Columbia University.
Philippe spoke knowledgeably about his AIDS research. He even took Fine on a tour of the hospital where he claimed to work.
When he took me to the lab, we walked through as if this was very natural and that he had been doing this all the time. You know, they waved hello, and who waved hello? Security waved hello, as if, you know, this was the guy who brought him coffee 2 or 3 times a week.
According to hospital officials, security had seen him so often they thought he worked there, but he didn't. That wasn't Philippe's only deception. He also conned Fine into believing he loved her.
Long stem roses, lots of poems, lots of wining and dining. This picture is Pierre and I at my nephew's bar mitzvah.
What more could a girl from Queens ask for?
Within 6 months, Philippe had moved in with Fine, and eventually he asked her to marry him.
He's a doctor. Barbara's finally getting married.
But there was a problem. Philippe told Fine that the IRS had frozen his checking account because of a mix-up over unpaid taxes, and that he needed money for his malpractice payments and other debts. Fine could hardly turn down her fiancé.
How much money did you give him altogether?
Altogether, $4,700.
But then Fine was shocked when a woman she thought was Philippe's co-worker called to talk with him. The woman was upset that Philippe had not returned any of her calls.
And I said, well, what's your relationship? And she said, well, we were dating. And I said, dating as in sleeping together? And she said, yeah. It was just devastating. It was horrible. I mean, I like can't even find adjectives to describe what that moment was like.
According to Fine, Philippe had been leading a double life, taking money from the other woman as well. And she now realized her fiancé was a con artist. Devastated, Fine tried to have Philippe prosecuted, but the Manhattan DA refused. According to Fine, the DA said that she had given the money voluntarily and that there was insufficient evidence of a crime.
Unless you have a train of evidence and you have multiple victims where there were representations made that were really clear-cut, unless you have a record of those representations, it's almost impossible to prosecute a perpetrator of a white-collar crime.
Fine later discovered that Philippe had conned a number of other women.
Altogether, how many women have you found that Pierre Philippe has told that he's a doctor and romanced?
Oh, about 11.
According to Private Eye Tim Bartlett, who was hired by one of the 11, Pierre Philippe is a modern-day Don Juan.
Always wears a suit, shirt, tie.
A man who romances several women at the same time.
What kind of women does he target?
Professionals in their late 30s, maybe early 40s, who haven't had time for romance or looking for romance, probably to settle down now.
According to Bartlett, Philippe found them in clubs and impressed them with his credentials. The woman Philippe was sweet-talking this time was an actress hired by Detective Bartlett as part of the investigation launched by one of Philippe's former lovers.
What do you do? I'm a cardiologist. Cardiologist? Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm a cardiologist.
Did he seem uncomfortable with saying he was a cardiologist?
Absolutely not.
Where else did he say he worked?
I'm part of an organization called Doctors Without Borders.
So who is the real Pierre Philippe? That's what we tried to find out when we caught up with him arriving at Kennedy Airport in New York.
Dr. Pierre Philippe?
No.
No? You're not a doctor?
No.
On tape, I have you telling a woman you're a
Listen,
cardiologist.
you have me on tape talking to somebody.
Yes.
You have no idea who I am, what I am about.
He's right. Very little is known about this man.
How do you earn your living, sir?
It's not any of your business.
According to investigator Bartlett, Philippe was a Haitian immigrant whose last documented employment was as a part-time research assistant at the University of Michigan in 1991.
Believe me, if any of us had an inkling that this guy was who he really isn't, then I don't think anybody in the world would be involved with him.
According to the detective agency that investigated Philippe, he was never prosecuted. More on cons and scams when the 20th century resumes.
Tonight on the History Channel. He broke out of every prison he was put in.
Welcome to Alcatraz.
According to the Consumer Federation of America, one of the most common cons was the telephone marketing scam, a scheme with many variations. For example, some con artists called requesting money for fake charities. Others offered free trips or prizes in exchange for an upfront payment or purchase of products, and it happened a lot. According to a Lewis Harris poll, 90% of Americans report having been called by fraudulent telemarketers.
You've been selected to receive one of our top 5 awards, okay? We have 2 1993 automobiles.
These telephone salesmen in Las Vegas, Nevada were players in a telemarketing scam in which victims were told they had been selected as winners of one of several prizes.
The 46-inch big screen color television. This is not just a dream, this is a dream come true. Like I said,
But there was a catch. To receive the prize, they had to buy hundreds of dollars worth of products.
We had the skincare program for $899.
How about a 16-month supply of vitamins?
5 pills.
Or a case of flame retardant.
And that's the scam, promising someone a prize in order to get him to purchase products whose value is vastly inflated.
When someone buys $900 worth of cosmetics, water purifiers, what is that stuff really worth?
Bottom line, anywhere from $30 to $100.
$30? Yep. I'm going to pay $900 for this stuff?
That's right.
Norman should know. A former telemarketer, he went to prison for telemarketing fraud. And he said that fraudulent telemarketers will stop at nothing to get money out of a client.
What we had for you here was the 12-month supply of the Valentina skincare program for $899. I would need you to verify the account number with me also. I'll be right back with you.
The telemarketer has checked the credit limit on the customer's credit card. When he discovered what the person's credit card limit was, he simply changed the price to reflect the credit limit.
Okay, Leo, I did speak with my general manager. So instead of the 12-month supply for $899, he suggested, and I agreed with him, that we'll go with the 8-month supply for just $648.
She's offered a special deal.
Get as much money as you possibly can.
Now, that's not necessarily illegal.
No, it's not.
What separated legal from illegal telemarketers was what each one promised. Recognizing the difference was not always easy.
Where do we cross the line into illegality?
Where we cross the line is like if I outright and guaranteed you, I said, Scott, listen, you have a new car coming.
Nellie, who lived alone in Michigan, believed that she had won a new car, among a lot of other things, when she was contacted by telemarketing companies. What she got was worth a lot less than a new car.
These are the things that you received when you thought you were going to win a car.
Mm-hmm.
Got a ballpoint pen. We've got this automatic juicer.
Yeah, that's just the cheapest kind of a thing.
It's not well, not well made.
No.
Once Nellie fell victim to one telemarketing scam, her name, address, and phone number, and her financial status went on a list that was sold to other scam artists. She was contacted by at least 12 others.
Most of the time they were very polite and sounded very, very trustworthy.
And Nellie wanted to believe them.
My daughter has a home for the homeless, and I thought, well, maybe I could win some money and help her.
How much did you send in?
Well, all told, I figured it was about $45,000.
$45,000?
Isn't that awful? That's been my savings that I've built up through the years. I don't know why I was so dumb to do something like that, but I guess I was.
Elderly women like Nellie were considered easy marks by the fraudulent telemarketers.
Con artists go to the elderly because they have the assets. They're older, their homes are paid off, they have rather large savings accounts, they have control of a lot of money. And many times they're lonely. Their children have moved off to some other place in the country.
But Nellie was more fortunate than most. Because many of the telemarketers were based in Nevada, they were subject to a law that required telemarketers to register with the state and post a $50,000 bond. The Las Vegas Consumer Affairs Office was able to use some of that money to return $28,000 of Nellie's money. But according to Nevada authorities, several shady telemarketers wanted to avoid posting bonds, so they set up their own operation to recover lost money. They called them recovery rooms.
What we are is a recovery room. You know how you used to do the promotions, the 1 in 4, 1 in 5? Right. Now, you know how many people got stung? Right. Money? Well, what we do is we get them their money back. Okay, so it's a total flip.
Eddie and Larry ran a company called Marketing Information Services, which promised to help clients, for a fee, to recover their money. The fee, payable up front, was equal to 20% of what the defrauded clients paid out to the telemarketers. The problem was, according to Nevada officials, many of these so-called recovery rooms were just another scam.
It's about as low as you can go. Tell someone that you're going to get their money back for them when you know there's no chance in the world that you're going to get it back. Take their last dollars. They'll take their rent money. They'll take their food money. And it's about the bottom of the barrel when you're doing that.
Vera Schultz place.
John Garvin was Marketing Information Services' top salesman.
We're Marketing Information Services. We go after those people that called you up and promised you cars and trips and cash and TVs and all this other stuff. Okay, and never delivered it. Okay. We let them know that they're in violation of fraud. From what I'm showing here in the record, okay, you lost close to about $10,000.
While Garvin waited for Vera to get some records, he explained how he was going to up his commission.
What you want to do is inflict pain. I'll explain that to you. You want to make her feel that if she doesn't deal with me, okay, she's lost.
The individual at the other end of the phone was Vera Schultz. 75 years old, she lived alone in a trailer park in eastern Pennsylvania on $400 a month Social Security. Schultz had lost $7,000 to various telemarketing schemes. Garvin's promise to help her get her money back convinced Vera Schultz that she had finally found a friend.
Well, he's just interesting to talk to. At least you can talk to him. I don't like to talk to strangers, but at least I can talk to him over the telephone.
And what do you talk about?
Just this, or these. What can be done about it?
And what does he say that he can do about it?
He doesn't know. He's just going to try.
For how much money?
$1,000, but I had to send the $700 in for him to get started on it.
If she doesn't deal with me, okay, she's lost.
It wasn't until CBS News correspondent Roberta Baskin showed Schultz videotape of Garvin making his pitch that she realized she had been scammed again.
I don't know whether he's anybody better than them.
Vera was not alone. Grace, who lived with her husband in southern Texas, also fell victim to a recovery room scam. After Grace lost her life savings, $66,000, to 24 separate telemarketing schemes, she was contacted by not one, but 3 different recovery rooms, including one called Federal Consumer Protection in Las Vegas.
Federal Consumer Protection pitched Grace when she was desperate about her losses. She says federal claimed it could get her a refund from a now defunct telemarketer.
And they said that these people were closed up. They closed them up, but their assets were froze, and they could get them if they put a claim in.
In addition to federal consumer protection, Grace was also contacted by 2 other agencies, the Bureau of Consumer Awareness in Las Vegas and Capital Punishers outside Buffalo, New York.
We found them running a bustling business, bringing in $60,000 a day, according to one former employee. Their pitch says it all.
They've basically located where all your money is, but legally they can't touch it until you become a client. And originally, you know what you're supposed to pay, honey? What? $15,000. That's under the Recovery Code Act 192.
Of course, there is no such act. Their pitch is full of lies, but a desperate person probably wouldn't question it.
All these things I thought were legitimate, or I wouldn't have never done it, because I'm not up with the modern day thing, you know. We're a little bit old and stupid, I guess.
Trusting.
Trusting, where you just can't think that there are that many crooks in the world.
In addition to conning unsuspecting victims out of their money, scam artists also focused on deep-pocketed corporations like insurance companies. Because they process millions of claims, insurance companies just couldn't check every claim made against them, which made them ripe for all kinds of fraud. For example, there was the swoop and squat scam, in which con artists stage automobile accidents in order to collect the insurance. But it was a dangerous line of work because the participants risked injury or even death to collect their share of the scam.
It's a driver's worst nightmare. A tractor-trailer pulling 80,000 pounds barrels into a car filled with passengers. 3 people are trapped under the truck and pulled out alive. A 4th is crushed and killed.
The car was crashed onto the fenders. It was awful.
Peter Liebig was the man behind the wheel of the truck.
Do you feel guilty?
Yeah. I still think I killed the guy.
But here's the twist. Liebig wasn't arrested. Instead, police arrested the driver of the car he ran into.
Eyewitnesses had seen the driver make repeated attempts to get in front of the truck. The subsequent California Highway Patrol investigation revealed that the driver had deliberately caused the accident so that he and his passengers could collect the insurance money. Police said the truck driver, Peter Liebig, was an innocent victim of the swoop and squat scam.
Here's how it works. The crooks pick out a vehicle like this red car that looks well insured, or maybe a truck or even a new family car. 2 of the scam cars trap the unsuspecting driver in his lane. A 3rd takes a position in front of him. The last con artist car pulls in front, slams on his brakes, forcing the innocent driver to rear-end one of the scam cars. The target might never find out that the accident was staged, and neither will his insurance company. They usually pay up with few questions asked.
Insurance fraud is an enormous business in this country. We pay hundreds of millions of dollars in unnecessary premiums because the con artists are out there staging these accidents and making just hundreds of millions of dollars in doing so. And what's nauseating is that doctors are involved, and chiropractors are involved, and physical therapists, and all sorts of medical personnel, and lawyers are involved in this whole process of bilking the insurance company.
Quiet in the courtroom, please.
The mastermind behind this particular scam, according to police, was Gary Miller, a California personal injury attorney who allegedly made $1.5 million in 1 year staging freeway accidents. In this case, Miller was convicted of insurance fraud and sentenced to 6 years in prison. He pled guilty to manslaughter, part of a plea bargain in the death of the car passenger, and he received an additional 1 to 1.5 years. The problem of staged accidents and insurance fraud, however, was not limited to California.
I know one guy, I watched him take a 1989 Grand Am, collect on that same car, same damage, without ever having it repaired, 21 times.
Billy Ray Walker was king of an insurance scam in Gastonia, North Carolina, until police busted him.
Police said that Walker made $125,000 in 3 years by staging automobile accidents and filing false auto insurance claims. A police investigation revealed that he had 35 people working for him, including the owners of a local body shop.
He made a lot of enemies last fall when he copped a plea and turned the gang in.
Me and you, baby, when I get out of here, you know, we can do it now.
Like most insurance con artists, this group was ruthless. They preyed on the most vulnerable motorists, senior citizens, and parents with small children.
Older people, you can con them as much as you can con the police that it was their fault. The people with the kids in the car blame it on their children. They was doing this, they were doing that. I'm sorry I didn't see.
Dawn Treadway and her toddler were victims.
He was screaming. It scared him. People do anything nowadays to get money.
Frank Garrison got tagged too.
I was shaking all over, if you want to know. At my age, it upset me.
And he's lost his independence as a result.
They slapped 3 points on me and went skyrocket with my insurance. I can't afford to drive a car, you know, and we're not on Social Security.
Billy Ray Walker, the man responsible for Garrison's accident, was sentenced to 4 years in prison for insurance fraud. But even prison sometimes couldn't stop a determined con artist. Danny Ferries was a convicted murderer who used his Miami-Dade County jail cell and his telephone there to rip off credit card companies for as much as $2 million. Ferries said he invented his scam to keep himself busy.
I would challenge you, Mr. Wallace, if they put you in a room the size of your bathroom at home for years at a time with a telephone, that I would challenge you to, that you would come up with some pretty inventive stuff to do, because you do everything through the phone.
And that's exactly what Danny Ferries did. Using a telephone from a large cell on the 10th floor of Miami's Dade County Jail, and later from this 6 by 8 foot cell, federal investigators acknowledge he managed to steal as much as $2 million worth of merchandise. And how did the business work? Accomplices on the outside provided Ferries with hundreds of credit card numbers taken from charge slips in hotel dumpsters. And then he used those credit card numbers to order merchandise from mail order catalogs by telephone, arranging for the items to be delivered overnight. Again, to accomplices on the outside who would sell the goods and split the proceeds with Ferries.
We were having a ball.
And you did business?
Oh, yes, sir, a bumper business.
According to prison officials, it went on for 4 years, with Ferries ordering everything from collectible gold and silver coins to Rolex watches to video camcorders. During one 11-month period, Ferries had 150 drop sites in 40 states and dozens of employees to help him.
Oh, it's so easy to find Confederates. I split right half with everybody. I mean, I never took more than half. I got robbed a lot, but again, you kind of take it on the chin, you know what I mean? It was, like you said, heck, it was all free.
So he ordered cases of the best champagne and gourmet gift baskets and thousands of roses, and he had them sent to the families of other inmates and even to his prison guards.
They're working stiffs, you know, they're not making much money.
Jail officials denied that guards accepted gifts, but they did not dispute that Danny was generous in other ways. Danny said he made donations to Save the Children Foundation with other people's credit. But not everyone agreed that Danny Ferries was a modern-day Robin Hood.
I think Danny Ferries is a convicted killer and a con man, nothing more.
Lieutenant Ross Hughes and fellow officer Raul Ubieta of the Metro-Dade Police spent months building a case against Ferries, and they knew he had confessed to murdering a friend while under the influence of cocaine.
He's already in jail for murder, possibly facing the electric chair, so the fellow had no fear of any reprisal for the fraud that he was doing.
The officer's case against Danny Ferries was eventually dropped by the Dade County State's attorney for insufficient evidence. But the two investigators continued to warn jail officials about Ferries' phone access, even though jail officials said it would violate his rights to take the phone away.
Even on my cell door at ICDC in Dade County, I had a MasterCard and a Visa logo on the outside of my door. It was pretty wide open.
Jail officials finally did search Ferries' cell, seizing hundreds of credit card numbers. But that didn't put him out of business, because he still had a telephone and one hidden credit card number.
And I had written this on the bottom of my bunk. And it was a woman's card, though. It was Regina Donovan was the name, but it was a good number. I said, well, here we go. We got to do something.
So Ferries used the credit card number to pay for a newspaper ad and a telephone answering service.
And I ran an ad in USA Today saying, cosmetic package, $89.95 value for only $19.95. All major credit cards accepted. Please call and Regina Donovan Cosmetics, our 1-800 number.
But Danny never intended to sell any cosmetics. All he was after was a fresh batch of credit card numbers.
Well, the girls there, they take the orders and they write down, okay, they thank you for calling Regina Donovan. May I help you? Yes, we saw your ad. Oh, yes. May we have, what credit card will we be using today? They wrote the number, the expiration. And then at the end of the day, I would call and they'd have all these numbers. It was incredible. And so I just got a whole new stack of numbers and I was off. Whew.
Ferries was eventually shut down by the Secret Service, which has jurisdiction over credit card fraud. He was sentenced to 5 years for credit card fraud on top of his earlier life term for murder. And he was moved to the Charlotte Correctional Institution, a much tougher Florida state prison, where he claimed to be out of the credit card business.
Isn't there a lady in Fort Lauderdale you've been talking to?
I don't know. Who you...
Didn't you offer to set her up in business and rent an apartment from her as a drop site?
Oh, I'm sure that I probably did.
Recently?
See, you would get a fella in trouble with all these folks standing around us here.
Well, I mean, come on. I mean, you just professed innocence. You don't do it anymore. That's what you just told me, Danny.
I know. Well, you know, here's what I've done.
But somehow you're in touch with a lady in Fort Lauderdale, renting an apartment, which is going to be a drop site where you are ordering, or she is ordering, or somebody is ordering camcorders and things like this.
As he nervously takes a drink of his root beer.
I mean, you're a crook.
Well.
And a murderer.
That's what they say. Doggone, I wish they didn't say that, though.
Danny Ferries is still in prison. A few years ago, he asked that his life term be changed to the death penalty so that he could donate his organs to someone else. His request was denied, so then he attempted suicide. That was unsuccessful, too. When we come back, the gold standard of scams, used car and auto repair cons. Some scams that go on year after year remain the gold standard of consumer cons because they work so well. One involved swindling used car customers by making cars appear in better condition than they were.
Well, there's two ways to do this. I'm going to do it the easy way.
This is not a demonstration for our television camera. What you're watching is a crime in progress. This man is adding about $2,000 to the value of this 1985 Buick by losing 50,000 miles off the odometer. In the used car business, it's called busting miles, or whipping miles.
According to the FBI, mile busters cost consumers at least $4 billion a year.
These are the men who hired him, John Hazlett and Charles Vance, two former used car dealers who invited us down to Houston to help expose the crooks.
According to Hazlett and Vance, Bill Whitlow, the heavy-set man in the white hat, was the biggest crook of them all.
He's been a used car wholesaler for 40 years and is called the granddaddy of the Houston Mile Busters. Whitlow will buy a trade-in from a used car dealer, roll back the miles, then sell it to a different dealer. Our camera was hidden across the street when Whitlow began bragging about the tens of thousands of miles he's rolled off these cars.
That one was 65.
65. What's on it now?
And that one was 70. I know what it was.
And they're 40 and 40 now?
Well, let's see what they are. This got 39.
39,000 miles.
And that got 42.
But rolling back the miles was only half the trick. The car's title had to be forged to match the new odometer reading. In this case, Whitlow volunteered to forge the new title for Hazlett and Vance for $100.
$100 a copy.
When Whitlow returned to Vance and Hazlett's office the next day with the forgery, 60 Minutes correspondent Steve Croft, posing as their friend and a potential investor in Whitlow's business, was also there with a hidden camera. According to Hazlett and Vance, the forged title was near perfect.
He's already changed the miles and you can virtually not detect it.
I never had one came back on. I guess I've been lucky, but I guess
Either they're good.
Just good work.
Good enough, he said, to make $50,000 a month.
The best part of it for Whitlow is, he says the $50,000 a month is all tax-free.
Well, I ain't filed income tax myself for 13 years, 15 years.
But there's no wholesaler stand in this town that's making money. It's not whipping miles. Is that true?
I don't know none.
Correspondent Croft tracked down one of Whitlow's specials on the used car lot of Russell and Smith Ford. It was the 1987 Aerostar van. When Whitlow bought it from one used car dealer, it had 131,000 miles on it. When he resold it, 80,000 miles had vanished. General Sales Manager Vincent Alfano and used car manager Tom DeLisi agreed that the van had been rolled back.
Yeah, of course, we probably took it on a trade-in, and people who traded them in signed an odometer statement stating the actual miles that, that's on the car. We don't follow these people around for years. We just take cars on trade.
Have you ever heard of a gentleman by the name of Bill Whitlow?
No.
Yes, I do. Yeah. You know Bill Whitlow? Yeah. I think you bought this vehicle from Bill Whitlow.
73 number, it's possible.
Suppose I told you that Bill Whitlow told us just about an hour ago that the only cars he ever sells all had their odometers turned back. Would that surprise you?
Yes, it would.
Maybe he really was surprised, but Bill Whitlow had told us earlier that most dealers suspect his cars have been rolled back.
Well, they have an idea. They don't want to know it. They got an idea, yeah.
No, that's not true, because I do not know that.
He's the only one in town that wouldn't know if he didn't.
I mean, it's just common knowledge. Flies gather on horses, Bill Whitlow hit miles.
Vance and Hazlett said it was easy for car dealers to determine if a car's odometer had been rolled back by checking its title history or even its service record. But according to authorities, few dealers made the effort.
What percentage of the cars sitting on used car lots have had their odometers rolled back?
I'd say 40% of the cars.
Really?
But according to Vance, busting mile busters was not a high priority for the police.
We really don't have a task force or a department in Houston set up to investigate this. There's just no money and no manpower.
For that reason, Whitlow said he never worried about getting caught, although he was surprised that he was the target of a 60 Minutes investigation.
Been taping this whole thing.
Well, all right.
The good news is we're not cops.
Well, I didn't think so.
The bad news is we're 60 Minutes, and you're not worried about the cops.
Not really.
As a result of the 60 Minutes investigation, Whitlow was tried and convicted for mileage busting and was sentenced to 7 years in prison. Rolling back odometers, however, was only one of the many scams involving used cars. In some cases, cars that had been badly damaged in accidents and should have been sold for scrap were rebuilt instead, given a new paint job, and resold.
Does one trust a rebuilt car to have the brakes rebuilt correctly? Not at all. That is one of many problems that can come up. Handling. There are steering problems, safety belts that don't work the way they should work, safety glass that isn't installed properly that can pop out under impact, an engine that on a slow impact, 20 miles an hour, comes all the way back into a passenger compartment when it shouldn't because the structure of the car is not sound.
To conceal the fact that a car has been wrecked, a rebuilt car will often be retitled in a state that doesn't require the designation salvage to appear on the new title. And of course, that makes it tougher for a consumer to find out the truth about the car. For instance, this 1990 Corvette totaled after a high-speed crash. It was issued a salvage title in Texas, but when it was rebuilt, it got a clean title in Kansas. So when Bruce Wall and his family found the car at Roberts Albright Pontiac, they had no way of knowing. The salesman told them the car was in mint condition, never so much as a scratch.
So based on that and based on the son liked it, I went to the bank and arranged the financing, and we purchased the vehicle.
Just 11 days later, 17-year-old Danny Wall was driving just a few miles from home when the car went out of control, skidded off the road, and flipped over.
Got a 17-year-old male patient apparently ejected from the vehicle.
Danny was airlifted to Research Medical Hospital. He was critically injured.
It was very, very, very bad condition. When we first arrived at the hospital, they gave us possibly a 50-50 chance of survival. The lungs had collapsed. He was on life support, and they wasn't sure that the aorta was still attached to his heart.
It was weeks before Wall was well enough to leave the hospital, and when he did, we went with the Walls to see Frank Zarlingo, manager of the used car lot that had sold them the salvaged car.
I didn't tell him any lies.
You apparently told them there was 11,000 miles on it, one owner vehicle, mint condition, etc., etc. You know, the usual talk that you get from a used car dealer.
You know, I told him about the car, what I knew about the car.
Had he wanted to know more, he could have checked with a company called Carfax, which can provide dealers with the entire title history of a car for as little as $3 a car. The Carfax report on the Walls car clearly shows it had been declared salvage in Texas.
How many cars you got out here in your used car lot?
Probably 35 or 40.
Do you know the history of any of them, or you just take them in and say, and try to sell them? How many of them maybe have been in wrecks previously? Do you have any idea?
No.
The Walls sued the auto dealership and the company that rebuilt the salvaged Corvette, and they won undisclosed settlements from both. Since experts said that most drivers were unable to distinguish good workmanship from bad, the whole field of used autos and auto repair was ripe for scam artists. In Arizona, so many elderly people were being scammed on repair costs that the Attorney General there set up a sting operation to identify dishonest mechanics. Inspector Evelyn Davis, nicknamed Grambo, was part of the investigation.
These old people don't need to be ripped off having their car repaired. $100 here and $300 here, it adds up. These people don't have a large pot of money.
Grambo and some other feisty senior citizens have formed an elderly posse who give crooks a chance to cheat them. But if you take these old folks to the cleaners, the Attorney General will take you to court. With hidden cameras, we watched Grambo play gumshoe. Her first target, the #1 source of senior citizen complaints, dishonest car mechanics.
To see if mechanics are honest here in Arizona, the Attorney General's office has its expert go over a car from top to bottom to make sure everything's fine.
These parts are marked so that we know whether or not they've been tampered with.
Then, an expert hired by 60 Minutes gave the car a problem that was easy to spot. In this case, a blown fuse to stop the air conditioner from blowing cold air. He said the fuse was the first thing a mechanic should check when an air conditioner was not working. And sure enough, at Grambo's first gas station, they simply replaced the fuse. But at the next station, Sun City Mobile, when Butch got his hands on her air conditioner, he just couldn't stop himself.
I can check it, and then you got to fix what's broke on it. Something's broke. These lines look a little wet right here.
They look a little wet.
Well, they look oily, see right there?
Oh.
Oily and expensive. Butch charged Grambo $171 to fix her air conditioner. But remember, all it needed was one new fuse. So we went back to Sun City Mobile, and Butch remembered Grambo.
Why would you charge that poor lady $171 worth of work for a 60-cent fuse?
It wasn't fused.
The only thing that was wrong, Butch, the only thing, was a 60-cent defective fuse that we had put in.
These lines right here, they was leaking.
The lines were fine. They were checked ahead of time.
Would like you
Butch suggested that we talk to his boss, but his boss didn't want to talk to us.
Are you going to leave? No, I have no intention of leaving until you tell me what's on your mind. Come on in, fellas.
No.
Clint Eastwood stars in Escape from Alcatraz, tonight at 8 on Movies in Time. Now on Home.
Scams may be as old as the Bible, but they're constantly responding to changing times and new technologies. The internet, for example, turned out to be a scam artist's dream. Millions of potential victims were just a mouse click away. And what's more, con artists could hide behind a computer screen almost anywhere in the world. According to the National Consumers League, complaints about internet fraud rose 600% between 1997 and 98. And the experts worry that training and equipping law enforcement agents to track down computer fraud will be an expensive and never-ending challenge. I'm Mike Wallace, and this is the 20th century.
A tourist destination like Miami offers plenty of fun, sun, and attractions for visitors. But when you're not familiar with the city, you could fall victim to a scam like this. Our scam crew member, Anne-Marie, hits the streets of Miami Beach to make tourists an offer they can't refuse, although they should. She's selling discount tickets to an attraction that doesn't even exist.
Best water park in all of Miami.
It's a water park.
It's a water park. It's got 2 pools, like 6 slides. There's 2 pools. There's 8 water slides. There's a super high water slide. There's like 3 slides. If you get drunk, you go on the slides.
And unfortunately, there are a lot of people that just can't pass up a good deal. And there's a sense of urgency on the part of the tourist to experience everything and to do everything while they're at this destination. And as a consequence, they're easy marks for good con artists.
Thunder Pool Bay.
One trick a good scam artist uses is to tell victims just what they want to hear.
Girls get naked. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah.
You sure?
I am positive. I've seen it
Like a
happen.
real scam, the pitch changes to fit the audience.
It's all you can drink till 4 a.m. Well drinks, beer. It's a pool. You can swim up to the bar.
Okay, we look like we're 21, but we're not actually.
They're very lax. I've been telling people.
Oh.
Yeah. I have the address. 4512 Collins Avenue. Do you know that street right behind here? It's 10 blocks.
She's even nice enough to give directions to nowhere.
Well drinks. You guys want to do it? Yeah, and if you don't like it, it's not that expensive, you know what I mean? So, all right, cool. Cool. All right, let me get you a map, okay?
Anne-Marie takes the money and disappears from sight, leaving the couple to wonder when the dancing is going to start.
Got something to share with you guys. Have you been to Thunder Pool Bay yet?
No.
It's a pretty cool place,
We're
you
gonna
heard,
go
huh?
tonight.
Are you?
Yeah.
What are you going to do there?
Dance.
You're going to dance at Thunder Pool Bay?
Yeah.
There's a problem with dancing at Thunder Pool Bay. You know what it is?
No.
It doesn't exist. There's no such place.
What?
No such place as Thunder Pool Bay.
So where are we gonna go then?
And there's no such address.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't know. We're not from here.
Remember, anytime someone approaches you on the street and wants to sell you tickets to concerts, shows, or events, or some type of tourist location, remember that anyone can print those up. Try to buy any type of coupons or tickets from businesses that have a legitimate storefront operation, so you can follow back up and ask questions if needed.
If you're offered discount tickets in an unfamiliar city, a good scam buster should check the validity of the tickets by visiting or calling the venue. Get referrals from friends or a recommendation from your hotel about the best places to visit and shows to see. And if you really want to be safe, only go to attractions you're familiar with.
You guys 2 for 10?
A tourist who bought tickets to a fake water park would get soaked way before they got near a water slide. South Beach, Miami, the home to hundreds of hotels where the main attraction is a spectacular pool. If you're staying at a South Beach hotel with a great pool, you're bound to spend time laying around while you soak in the sun, have a drink, and if you're lucky, watch some models. In this case, the model is our scam crew member modeling a popular scam used to get access to a tourist hotel room by offering a free drink.
Hi, miss. How are you doing today? Good. We have a new bar opening up in the hotel, and we're offering complimentary drinks to our hotel guests. Is there anything I can interest the 2 of you in?
Are they free?
Sure is. We have a full bar, cocktails, beers, a margarita.
This hotel doesn't even have a bar. But hey, who cares? It's a free drink.
How about a margarita?
Sounds good. 2 margaritas. And can I get your room key to verify?
There are a myriad of hotel scams going on around the United States. One of the things that I often tell people is to be very, very careful when you're staying in a hotel about the people around you.
To our hotel guests.
Now, the key to this scam is to get the hotel room key and room number, which she does.
And can I get your room key to verify that you're a guest?
Oh, yeah.
There you go. And what room are you in?
233.
233. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If there's a person representing themselves to be a hotel employee, you need to make sure the person you're talking to is legitimate and not someone trying to scam to get your hotel room key and your room number who's going to go up to your room and rip you off.
A scam-busting traveler knows that you should always keep your key to yourself. You wouldn't hand your house key to a stranger, and you should treat your room key the same way. And keep your information confidential. A real hotel employee should never ask you to speak information like your last name or room number aloud. If you're at a hotel and somebody tries to offer you something for nothing in exchange for your room key, just remember, there's no such thing as a free drink. Miami is a tourist paradise where you can party all hours, and as the old song goes, does anybody really know what time it is? Which is the question we tried to answer when our scam expert Chuck Whitlock hit the streets of South Beach to sell a pair of worthless watches for an unbelievably low price.
I've been waiting for you two for about 3 hours. You finally have shown up, and here are the watches you've been waiting for. Aren't you glad you came to Miami so you could find great watches at a good price? How can you enjoy Miami without a watch?
Vacation, no time.
Oh, you don't care about the time. I got you.
The watches were so worthless that the importer paid about $1 a piece. But nobody seemed to have a clue to the value since the leather case, gold and silver design, and $250 price tag were all fake.
Everybody's passing up the opportunity of a lifetime. They're walking right by me. I can't believe it. Am I correct in assuming that you're the most discerning buyers on the face of this earth? No.
As time went on, Chuck found these guys, a couple of smart shoppers who get all wound up about the good deal they think they're getting.
How about 15? How about 15?
15 for both sets.
Yes.
Take it out, man. Let me see.
Take it out. Look at
I
it.
didn't want to see this. Hold that. I
Okay.
don't even want to see that. That gold on top of the silver.
Gold plated. Gold plated on top of silver. This is just a silver finish.
But give him 20.
Yeah, give me 20.
And he'll give you 5 back.
And I'll give you 5. That's it. That's a good deal. Okay. Now wait. Let me get this. Let me give it. Hey, hang on 1 second. I'll give it back. I know it's yours. Hang on, just 1 second. I got to ask you guys a quick question. What's your name?
John.
John?
Oh, man.
John?
No,
wait a minute. Come on. This is a travel show. It's all about travels. That's what it's about. You guys are great. No. You don't want these watches. Trust me. These watches are about as worthless as a watch can possibly be. What's your name, sir?
John.
Chuck. And you?
Bob.
Bob, this is a travel show, and we're talking,
Don't come to Miami. You meet guys like this.
we're doing a show about travel scams and how easily somebody
I love you,
gets
baby. I was going to get this watch for you, baby.
$20.
But this guy's tricked me.
But this was a deal too good to believe.
Yeah.
The reason this is a travel scam is because tourists get hit up by street vendors.
We were too forgiving. It's like you were a crackhead or something, man. You were like, hey, I give it to you. $5, $2, whatever.
You know, our watch scam is just the tip of the iceberg. It's always amazing to me how you can buy merchandise for pennies and sell it for dollars. People know intuitively when you say Swiss movement, gold plate, either it's hot merchandise or it's worthless merchandise. In either case, why would you want to give that merchant the time of day?
A scam-busting traveler doesn't buy counterfeit merchandise. It might look good at first, but you're really buying an inferior product that's bound to fall apart. Brand-name products are sold through legitimate dealers. Chances are a product being offered on the street is counterfeit. When you go on vacation, bring your own watch, because if you were to buy one being offered by our scam crew, your watch would stop ticking, and as a victim, you would take the licking. Next up on Travel Scams, we dress up to con victims who want to go cruising for a bruising. Then we meet tourists who let scammers sell them totally blank videos until this guy lays down the law. Miami has the largest year-round cruise fleet in the world, and luxury cruises are one of the most popular and fastest-growing vacation choices. Many people think the cost of a cruise is out of reach, so if you were offered a 3-day cruise for $29, would you think it's too good to be true? Because that's the basis of our next scam, one that actually happens all too often to unsuspecting tourists. We've outfitted investigative reporter Chuck Whitlock in a captain's uniform left over from the Love Boat costume department and put him on a busy pedestrian walkway in the middle of South Beach's Lincoln Road. Chuck has an offer people couldn't refuse. No, he isn't pretending to be a sailor trying to raise money for a tattoo. He has a flyer we made up, offering a 3-day cruise to the Bahamas for an unbelievably low price. One reason it's such a bargain is that the cruise ship doesn't even exist.
Anytime someone offers you a cruise ship vacation or any other type of vacation for that matter, if they're selling it to you on the street or soliciting it over the telephone, there's probably a problem with it.
It's a new ship, the Grand Ship Wetlock. You go to the Bahamas, it's $3.99, but the three of you can go for $29 a piece. We're trying to get as many bookings as we can throughout the summer months. You go to the Bahamas and Freeport, Nassau. Yeah, $29.95 for 3 days. And all the accommodations, I'll give you a suite. Oh, want to take the kids on a cruise? $29.95, all three of you?
Here you go.
You go to the Bahamas? No, you got to come too.
You're welcome to take them.
You guys want to go to Bahamas, I can tell. Where are you from? New York. Oh, look at this. Come here. New Yorkers love this program. You know what this deal is?
Chuck has found a couple who don't want to miss the boat.
$3.99 a piece to go on a 3-day cruise to the Bahamas. You can go anytime you want in the next 8 months.
And you have to pay that now, or?
You pay the $39.90, we give you the 2 tickets, and we give you the authorization. But
and just like a real scam artist, Chuck tells them everything they want to hear.
Let me ask you a question. You have daycare on there, or?
We do. We have daycare. It costs you $11 for half day.
And babies are free, or?
Babies are free. Babies are under 2.
Yeah.
This deal is so fake, it might have sounded better if we were offering a 3-hour tour on the SS Minnow.
You guys can do some skeet shooting off the back of the ship, and it's really a great time. And you could use them while you're here if you want.
Do you take traveler's checks?
We do. You bet. Yes, sir.
Do it that way, then.
You got to use them within the next 8 months.
Okay.
Okay, so let me take these, and I owe you 10 cents. Mm-hmm. Guys, I got to tell you something. What I have to share with you is that I need to give you your money back.
Okay.
I really appreciate your buying this, but I'm with a travel scam show. I don't know anything about the sea. In fact, can I share something else with you? I get seasick. Were you sort of just taken by the excitement of the offer?
This is funny, because I was just thinking that in the back of my mind that there might have been something just like a scam, but I was trusting.
See, that's what a con artist does. They get the victim, the would-be victim, to think they're getting something so great. To the Bahamas.
So, how can you avoid that sinking feeling of being scammed by a fake cruise offer? Just because someone is wearing a cheesy sailor suit doesn't mean he's as trustworthy as Popeye, or even Gilligan. So a scam buster would call the cruise line for verification that the offer is real, or even that the cruise line exists at all. And don't, let's say it together, don't ever hand cash or your credit card to someone on the street. Otherwise, you're just cruising for a bruising.
Sometimes it's just a con man in a sailor's uniform standing on a corner.
Here's a street scam that proves a point about how nice con artists can seem when their intentions aren't nice at all.
Hey, I'm Ted. How you doing? Hey, I'm Ted. How you doing? Hey, I'm Ted. How you doing? Good, Ted. What's your name? Mark.
Ted may seem like the guy next door, but only if you live next door to a con man.
What's your name?
To test this popular ripoff, Ted hit the streets of South Beach, Miami with some totally blank video cassettes, a smile, and a great deal for him. Selling videotapes of films that just opened at the box office.
Hey, can I interest you ladies in a movie today? Star Wars Episode 2, Spider-Man, The Sum of All Fears. Can I interest you today in a movie? Sum of All Fears, Star Wars Episode 2. You sure, man? It's all digital. It's not bootleg. It's not shot with a camcorder.
Ted makes these blank tapes sound better than the films playing in theaters. And considering some of today's movies, he's probably right.
So it's a pre-promotional release.
The whole film?
The whole film. They're $10 each.
So that's why it's so short.
Exactly, because it's all digital. And because they're able to do that, they compress it down. It's, you know, an environment thing. But how's it going? You guys interested in Star Wars video?
By offering videos of the latest hit movies, people are bound to be interested.
Hey guys, how you doing today? You guys interested in the new Sum of All Fears, Spider-Man Star Wars Episode 2 video?
In a scam like this, the most vulnerable victims have their kids along who convince them to shell out money on worthless doodads, like blank videos.
We've sold 27 of them today. They're $10 each, or I'll give you 2 for $15.
What is it?
We just had the Sum of All Fears, Spider-Man, and Star Wars Episode 2.
What's the
each of them. I'll give you 2 for $15, either one.
Give me a Spider-Man for 10.
In fact, I'll give you 3 for $20.
All right.
Okay, cool.
You sure they all work? I have to
absolutely. Okay. All right. That's the whole entire movie. It's new digital.
We sent in Chuck Whitlock, our scam expert, to act as a conscientious consumer.
You know, I just bought 2 of those. Do you have a TV I could view it on?
No, I don't have one right now. The battery's down.
They've got one over here.
Sure.
Well, let's just see if these things really work.
I just got filmed buying bootleg tapes.
I mean, this is actually a 15-minute videotape. You can't watch a 2-hour Star Wars on a 15-minute video.
I didn't think so. I was like, it feels good. You know what it is? You try to make everybody here happy, and sometimes you get taken advantage of and don't even realize it.
Did you want these tapes? Were you the one that told Mom and Dad I'm getting them?
Oh, yeah.
Did you say, come on, Dad?
You wanted Spider-Man.
Oh, is that what you kept saying?
No, he kept saying.
Well, you learned a life lesson today. That Mom and Dad taught you a life lesson.
Make sure there's enough tape on the videotape.
Yeah, make sure there's 2 hours worth of tape before you buy it.
We're in Miami. And
If you're thinking, hey, there's a travel scam even I could pull off, just watch this.
I'll give you 3 for 15.
Keep your eyes on the customer on the left. Ted thinks he has a surprise for the guy, but he's going to one-up Ted big time.
I got change. Do you have Spider-Man still?
Yes, yeah, we do. How much you got? Huh?
Don't do that. Put that down. I'll see what occurs. Oh, my.
Our fake con man may have taught a lesson to real tourists, but a fake tourist who in reality is an undercover police officer was on the lookout for real con men in South Beach, Miami. Once the police officer found out we were from travel scams, he let us off with a warning. Keep those valuable scam buster tips coming.
Don't buy tapes from people on street corners. It's just the worst thing you can possibly do. It's also wrong to buy a product that you don't know is going to work. Of course, when they get home, there's nothing on the tape. I mean, how good can that reproduction be? The sound is awful. You can hardly see the video.
Scam busters know that just because a guy looks like he's honest, it doesn't mean he is. And it's always best to stay away from merchandise that's too cheap to be real. Coming up on Travel Scams, tourists will buy anything, including suntan lotion that's really just water.
See, the sunblock is so good, you can actually drink it.
And people hand over their expensive cars to our fake valet. Here's a scam, taking advantage of tourists who are out taking advantage of the South Beach, Miami sun. Our scam expert, Chuck Whitlock, set up a table and a poster a few feet away from Miami Beach to sell bottles of magic sunscreen that wouldn't even rate a 1 on the SPF scale because it's pure water. And the most worthless sunglasses in the state of Florida, which we bought for 50 cents each.
Great sunglasses.
Sell is the key word here because he makes incredibly amazing claims about both products.
Best sunglasses in the whole world. Normally $99 in the store. And the greatest sunblock in the world. 60 SPF. You can't buy a better sunblock anywhere in the country. Oh, how about some sunglasses? 100% UV. Yeah, these are really cheap. They sell for $30 in the store. It's $5. You need sunglasses, a good pair of sunglasses. These are beautiful. These will look great on you. In fact, I had 30 bottles when I started this morning. It's all gone. $5 for this, $5 for that, $10 for the 2. Doesn't that smell nice? Yeah, it smells really good. And it's safe that you could actually drink it. Oh, yeah. Isn't that nice? Yeah.
Chuck plays such a liar that his pants might catch on fire. And if they do, he better have something stronger than UV 60.
I would recommend 50. You can't possibly burn it. These are 100% UV protected. You can pick any one you want. If you want to buy a second pair for a gift for somebody, you can have 2 pair for $9. Your corners are the most important asset you have. Isn't that amazing? I know, it's all of a sudden 100% block. I know. People use these all the time, and they swear by them. Look at super blockers. They're advertised all over the country in major magazines. 100% UV protection.
That's a major difference, isn't it?
100%. It just makes all the difference in the world. You have to protect.
Chuck is such a good con artist, he's selling sunglasses to this lady who's already wearing 2. As well as a worthless bottle of magic sunscreen for $1.
Your sunblock, what do you use? You use 50 SPF?
Yeah, I do have that one.
Yeah, this is the best product in the country. It's a wonderful product. But it's really safe. It's so safe you can actually drink it. When have the last time you've known? No, I'm going to give you the $1. I'm going to give you the $1, but I just want to show you something. I want to tell you something.
You don't have to drink it.
See, it's really not sunblock at all. It's just water, and this is a phony product. And so are the glasses you just bought.
Oh, really?
Well, listen, I just want to thank you so much
These are
for...
nice. I get to keep them and everything?
Well, no, because we'd be cheating you if we gave them to you. And
He has a hard time buying them back after telling her the sunglasses are worthless.
Yeah. So
this lady either really loves sunglasses or she wants to travel incognito.
He said sunblockers, we sell them all over, and had some kind of advertisement. Then he tried to get me some suntan lotion and said the product was excellent. And he started to drink it, and I told him, keep the dollar, you don't have to drink it.
Anytime someone approaches you on a street corner and tries to sell you something, there's usually a problem with it. Never buy anything from a street vendor because there's no way to follow back up with them later on if there's a problem.
some folks might get a chuckle out of that and say, well, those foolish people bought a bottle of water for $20. The problem is that a lot of people are extraordinarily sensitive to the sun. There are people that have extraordinarily sensitive eyes. So these crimes where people are actually injured aren't funny. They're not just white-collar crimes that are going to earn a thief a few dollars, and so what?
If you want to be a scam buster and not a scam victim, bring your own sunglasses and sunscreen to the beach, or at least buy them from a real store nearby. And don't believe medical advice from a street corner pharmacist. Your health may be at risk. If you fall for this beachside scam, your skin won't be the only thing getting burned.
How do these look?
This next travel scam begins as usual by hiding cameras and microphones on our scam crew to test how easy it is to rip off tourists right out in the open. The goal is to set up a reasonably priced but fake valet parking stand and see who'll give their car and their keys to a complete stranger.
What a con artist does is he places himself between a would-be victim and an urgent need. You have an area that's very busy, a tourist area. Parking is limited, and so the con artist simply puts up a valet sign where there's all this traffic.
An empty spot near a busy shopping area is just what our scam crew needs to set up shop. Now let's go expensive car shopping, since the price is right. Free.
Cheap at 3 times the price. How long are you going to be? Oh, that's fine. That's fine. It's $2 you can pay after when you get your car back. You going to dinner? Yeah. There you go. Yeah, you're very welcome. Okay. See you right back here.
It seems like these trusting customers are happy they got off with a great bargain. While we got off with their car. Talk about forgetting where you parked.
Excuse me, you guys. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but did you park your car with that valet over there? Because I don't know, it looked kind of weird. Because as soon as you gave him your keys, he took the car, packed up all the valet stuff, and took off.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
No, hold on.
Dead serious.
No way.
Yes, you might want to check.
Let me ask you, I have to ask you guys a question. Can I ask you a question? Hi, I'm Chuck Whitlock. It's about travel scams. And this is called the valet parking scam. Have you been scammed before?
No.
Never in your life?
No, I got scared.
So how did you fall for this? I mean, you just drove your car up?
It's a $2. He looked like a decent guy. I said, wait, this doesn't look like
What do you think? Crooks look like bad guys?
Yes.
No. See, that's part of the confidence game. That's why they call them con men.
I was thinking in my stomach, so he got me.
As you're driving up to the restaurant or location, and if there's only one valet driver, and if there's no interaction with other employees, it could be a scam, so you may want to park independently and then walk in and ask.
Now, most people have at times handed their car keys over to unknown red-vested strangers with complete faith. That's what we expected. But nobody seems to pick up on the clues that we aren't running a real valet service.
I'll be right out here.
The tips to our illegitimacy are in the handmade sign. The fact that Chuck is working alone with no other valet parkers wearing the same uniform to be found. And the biggest missed clue is Chuck's funny name tag.
Yes, sure. Just $2. Straight ahead, about a half a block down on the right-hand side. Yes, I'll take care of your car. Thank you.
Yes, yes, I'll be right here till midnight. Yeah. Ma'am, miss? Hi, I've got something to tell you. Did you happen to notice my identification? I'm not really a valet parking man at all. We're doing a television show about travel scams, and one of the scams is valet parking. Did you suspect anything, young man?
Yeah, $2 seemed a little bit cheap
You
to
thought
me.
that was pretty cheap, huh? Did you tell your mom?
No.
Being the conscientious show that we are, we helped the victims of our travel scams demonstration find real valet parking. It cost more than our fake service, but at least they were sure to get their cars back.
The valet parking crime to me is the most dangerous possible crime that a con artist can pull. I have noticed people give their entire key ring, and in the glove compartment you see their home address. While they're having dinner, the crook can make a copy of all their keys, including their house key.
So how does a scam buster avoid falling victim to the fake valet parking charade? Here are a few pointers. Try to use a valet service that is part of a legitimate business. If you see someone standing on a corner with a valet parking sign, you should think twice about handing over your car. Don't keep valuables in the car. Insurance will often replace the car itself, but not always the contents. And if you're in doubt, use a parking meter. It might involve a little walk, but hey, who can't use the exercise? And when you get your car back, the meter won't be expecting a tip.
$10 valet parking. It's on them. It's on them. It's on them. They're paying for everything.
Up next on Travel Scams, a fight breaks out in a bar when we break out an old scam.
It's about love.
When the sun goes down on Miami, tourists and locals head to the southern tip of South Beach to party. The nightlife ranges from mild to wild as people hit the clubs and bars. One place people like to kick back and enjoy themselves is the Tropical Sidewalk Bar at the Fairwind Hotel. The comfortable atmosphere made for a perfect place to hide our cameras and demonstrate a scam that has been pulled on people from coast to coast. This particular scam has an obvious advantage because it targets people who are greedy or who just might be having too much to drink. First, we sent in Anne-Marie, our scam crew member, playing a distraught tourist looking for a lost wedding ring.
Excuse me, you guys. Did anybody see a ring at the bar? I dropped. Have you guys seen a ring? Have you guys? It's a diamond ring. It's my wedding band. Have you guys seen? Has anybody found a ring in here? No. Yeah, it's a diamond ring.
Actually, not really looking for it.
It's my wedding band. You guys, nobody in here has found a ring? I just lost my wedding band. My husband just gave it to me.
She makes it known that she's willing to fork over a large reward for anyone who can find a ring. It's probably worth more to her than her husband.
Can I write my number down? I'll give a reward out. I'll give $1,000 to anybody who can find my ring. Okay, no questions asked. If you find the ring, please give me a call, okay? Find the ring.
She leaves a fake phone number with the bartender and leaves. 10 minutes later, her accomplice, Chuck Whitlock, our scam expert, conveniently appears. And surprise, surprise, what does he have in his hands? The lost diamond ring, which looks like it's worth at least $100,000.
Found this gorgeous ring by the cigarette machine. Looks awfully nice to me. Anybody here own it?
Yeah, you found the ring? Yes. Yeah,
What do you mean, the ring?
There's a ring, and the woman just wants to give $1,000 for a ring that it was her. She was just here in tears.
Did she say what it looked like?
She said it was a wedding ring or something like that.
Oh, is it by the cigarette machine?
Oh, yeah, call her, because she's like
she was
desperate.
crying.
She's
She was
desperate.
crying, yeah.
She's desperate for the ring?
Yeah, she says, you know, like, I'll pay $1,000 to get that ring back.
Yeah, that's the ring.
That's beautiful, huh?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful ring.
Thanks to a third member of our scam crew, the negotiations begin.
Hang on. What?
Look, we'll give you $15.
Oh, no. That woman wants her ring back. Give her her ring back.
The goal? Find a bar patron